Are you an investor? Are you someone that's looking for a great deal? Well, today, Ryan Lippe, Consumer Protection and You, he's with the State of Ohio Attorney General's Office, is going to help us better understand investment scams. So stay tuned. Welcome back to another episode of Consumer Protection and You with Ryan Lippe. Ryan Lippe is a consumer educator with the State of Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost's office. Ryan, always a pleasure.
Thanks, Patrick. Good to join you and your audience again.
We see on the internet, through emails, through correspondence, that there's many, many ways that we can become rich almost overnight through different investment scams.
Yeah, we see a lot of issues involving whether there's a lot of risk or not with some of these get-rich-quick schemes. If people are skeptical, they've got the right attitude about something that seems too good to be true. I mean, the fact is, when it comes to investments, it's wise to rely on the professionals. And the professionals in this case that I'm talking about, in terms of whether something's a scam or not, includes the Ohio Department of Commerce and their expertise, as well as the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. So in the latest issue of Consumer Advocate, we went through some of the Ohio Department of Commerce's investor alerts about what they want you to know to stay away from, or at least raise red flags with you if you get caught in some type of potential scam. The first thing is affinity fraud. And with that kind of fraud, someone may be claiming to be part of your church or synagogue. Maybe they're in a fraternal organization with you, or you share the same charity that you give to or spend time with. Could be a business or professional organization, social club, but whatever the connection is, they want you to use that as proof that they're experts or that they have your best interests in mind, when the fact is that you should never let a common bond inspire automatic trust with someone. You know, it's always important to thoroughly and independently research the business opportunity, the investment opportunity, whatever they're trying to sell you on. Independently research it and sort of disregard, for the purposes of your research, the fact that you have a commonality with that individual, because really they might be using that commonality to lend the aura of being experts on a topic, or wanting you to lower your walls so that you aren't quite as suspicious as you normally would be on a particular investment potential.
You know, I think that's very true. Yeah, Bernie Madoff, who has now been convicted of investor fraud, depended a great deal on trust and on what other people were saying. And I think you're bringing home some really good points of continually doing research to better understand whether or not you're going to make that much money.
Yeah, and I'm not saying don't believe anything you hear from a member of your organization or a charity that you're fond of, but just don't leave that as credibility or evidence of credibility when you don't do any more digging or any more research. You got to treat everything with a fresh pair of eyes and sort of disregard that affinity relationship for the purpose of really researching and getting to the bottom of whether an investment is right for you. So just because I'm connected with a particular organization doesn't mean that I can automatically trust all those members with their ideas and their business opportunities and their investment ideas. Independently do all that research so you come to a independent conclusion about whether you should invest in that type of product or service or not. Another issue that we see is unregistered products and unlicensed sales representatives. I mean, generally securities like stocks and bonds can only be handled by licensed salespeople. So it's a red flag if anyone without a license pitches you an opportunity to buy securities. And many of these situations involved unregistered investments that are promoted as limited risk or no risk and high profit. And remember what I said at the beginning of the program, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Another investment to watch out for are Ponzi schemes. You mentioned Bernie Madoff earlier in the program. Well, I mean, these Ponzi schemes actually operate just like how he operated, where you're paying off people that want their profits with new people's money. And you're just basically creating a shell game. There's no real investment that's actually made in a true Ponzi scheme. And the fraudulent structure often collapses when the new money dries up. There's little or no funds available to pay off earlier investors at some point in time. And that's when the house of cards sort of dishevels and collapses. So it's very similar to what we saw with the Madoff situation, where they were just moving money around and pretending like you have accumulated significant investment returns when really they were just paying you off with money that was just coming in from new investors. Another thing we see a lot of are pyramid investments, and the unlawful business practices are structured so that new investors are recruited to sell a product or service, but they also need to do one other thing. They're responsible for bringing additional investors into the scheme. So according to the Ohio Department of Commerce, each investor pays the person who recruited them for the chance to sell the item, and the recipient must share the proceeds with those at the high levels of the pyramid structure. Again, these don't last forever. The pyramid collapses at some point, or the government, the SEC, the Ohio Department of Commerce gets wind of what's really a pyramid investment. And I think one of the true tell signs of a pyramid investment is when they put all the emphasis on recruiting new people and barely any emphasis on the product or service that they should be proud of selling. In fact, there are a lot of cases where maybe somebody is buying a lot of these items themselves to resell, and they're kind of left holding the bag when nobody wants their items and they've simply bought into something that's too good to be true. Another thing that we see a lot of are investment seminars. And certainly not every investment seminar is a scam, but if you're invited to one, be wary of promises that tout big profits for little or no work. And so examples from the Ohio Department of Commerce include house flipping, stock market day trading, commodity investments, and other get-rich-quick schemes. So, a lot of times they get rich off of the seminar fees and or the sale of books or audio tapes. These days, maybe audio CDs or downloads of how to get rich quick. So before you attend a seminar, and, even if it includes a free lunch or a free dinner, the Ohio Department of Commerce suggests researching the host company or the individual to check for a history of complaints or fraud. So you really want to do your due diligence before you go into any type of seminar or any type of discussion wanting your money. You want to research them, and you can do that through the Ohio Department of Commerce. You can probably do it through the Securities and Exchange Commission, and find out if anyone else has complained about this type of investment seminar activity. Maybe even do an internet search with the name of the company and words like scam or complaint to figure out whether people have been talking online about these types of so-called opportunities.
I wonder sometimes, we're so used to when we deposit money into a bank that if the bank should fold, our money we can recover.
Sure.
Is that similar to the investments? Can we recover our monies if we have been scammed?
Well, those usually fall under different regulations and different laws. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the FDIC, insures money, I believe, up to $250,000 per client that you have with a bank or financial institution. But, that's not the policy that all of the stock brokerages follow and other investment houses don't have that FDIC relationship. They may have something that's a little comparable to that in terms of some guarantee or some insurance over your investments. But with things like cryptocurrency and investment seminars, it's really buyer beware. You're not getting that FDIC backing. You're not guaranteed if something folds to get all your money back, like you would be if it were a legitimate bank backed by FDIC, or the comparable backing that happens with credit unions and things like that. So you really want to tune into what protections are available and how easy or difficult it'll be to get your investment back if the house of cards folds, or if the I don't mean to be so negative, but here we're talking about investment scams and schemes. And so the emphasis here is protecting your money and knowing about your risk and going into things with eyes wide open so that you're not the next victim of an investment scam.
Sometimes as we get near to retirement, we are inundated with a variety of different financial plan. By coming to their meeting, you're promised that you do not have to buy anything. You just get a free meal and listen to a short presentation. Are these different kinds of scams?
Well, some of them might be scams, but that doesn't, just because it's an investment seminar doesn't automatically mean it's a scam. But similar to timeshare presentations, where you go in with the expectation that you're going to get, free tickets or some money or a gift card, and you're going to have to listen to a presentation. Probably with these investment seminars that promise you a free meal or promise you a free gift card, there's some heavy pressure on buying into their seminar and buying into their products, whether it's an audio tape set or a book or a plan that they're trying to put together to convince you to invest your money in. You just want to go into everything with your eyes wide open so that you know exactly what you're dealing with. And the more research you can do at the beginning of the process, the better off you are, because if you decide to go to the seminar and you're in a room filled with people that seem excited about the product or service that they're trying to sell, you may be persuaded to buy something on a moment's notice. When if you've done your research, you may find that it's a scam and not go to the investment seminar at all, knowing that it's all just a bogus ploy to get money or personal information from you. So again, investment seminars, beware. Do your research, find out exactly who's behind the seminar, and do some internet searches and do some maybe even regulatory searches to figure out whether they're licensed to sell securities or licensed to do what they purport to be doing. So you know straight off whether it's going to be potentially a bogus issue.
I was invited to attend a free government workshop in which the individual indicated there's all sorts of different things that you can acquire from the government at no cost. And so as that individual went through, the next thing he indicated was, now, if you really want to get down to the meat of the matter, it'll cost you $200 for the next session.
Yeah. So they give you enough for free to get you interested. Then when you've gotten a taste of it, then they want the money to give you the rest of the story. So it's almost like a story where they give you a free chapter, but then you have to pay to get every other chapter, and you don't know how the book finishes until you've given them all your money. So, when in doubt, be skeptical and be not paranoid, but skeptical about easy, quick ways to make money. Because if there were easy, quick ways to make money without any risk, we'd all be doing it. There's really no hidden secrets or hidden treasures out there. There are solid investing tips, and you can get that through the Ohio Department of Commerce and the Securities and Exchange Commission at the federal level. And you can go to your financial advisor or your financial broker that you may have an existing relationship with. But if you talk to them about some of these seminars and get rich quick schemes, they might have an opinion on those before you decide to go into an investment seminar or something like that.
Do you find financial planners should be attached to a bank, or we have standalone financial investment firms, etc.? Does the state of Ohio Attorney General's office offer any suggestions on that?
Now, that's a difficult question because we can't really make a choice for someone about which path to go down. But just know that investment advisors and financial advisors come in all different shapes and sizes. I mean, there are some that are affiliated with a chartered bank. There are some that are on their own they just have their own financial planning firm. There's some that are affiliated with big investment houses. So try to look at all your options. And if you want to go with one that is affiliated with your bank, or is affiliated with a firm that you're familiar with locally, do some research, see if there's a client list that you can tap into to see if there are some referrals or some good words that somebody may put in about a firm. Ask friends and family, ask folks that you know what their recommendations are for that financial service. But there's no real litmus test on, well, if they're from a bank, they're legitimate and it's a great institution and you got to go with them, or if they're with a financial firm and not affiliated with a bank, that's the best choice. There aren't any rules of thumb like that. You got to really look at the total services and products they're offering, whether you think it's worth the price you're paying for that expert's advice and services, and whether you want to move forward based on the research you've done about all the different options that are out there.
So if I get scammed, can the state of Ohio or the Commerce get my money back?
Well, that depends. I mean, the Ohio Department of Commerce does have an investor protection hotline, and that's 877-683-7841. And again, I'm usually promoting the Ohio Attorney General's helpline, so I had to read it off here carefully. 877-683-7841. If you have some type of securities fraud that you want looked into, or for advice on protecting yourself from getting into a potential scam, that is your state resource. At the federal level, the Securities and Exchange Commission also has an investor assistance phone line at 800-732-0330. That's 800-732-0330. And they have a lot of different tools. There's a lot of good advice and good solid red flags that you should look for. I mean, another type of red flag is real estate. I mean, certainly there are legitimate investment opportunities in real estate, but if you are asked to go into a deal that's not traded on the regular stock market or on some regular official marketplace, if you're selling something to you directly, it may be riskier than like a real estate investment trust that's traded on a market that you and I are familiar with, like the New York Stock Exchange or an exchange like that. If it's now, conventional real estate investment trusts are traded on a stock exchange and they may be legitimate. The non-traded trusts are the ones you got to look out for. Those are the ones that may be sold directly to investors, not through a stock exchange, and it may be much more risky. Another issue that we tackle in the latest edition of Consumer Advocate is oil and gas wells. And again, there's another thing where some of these are legitimate opportunities, but there are many fraudulent oil and gas deals where they tell you the well is in another state or so far away that they know you won't travel to try to figure out whether it's really a legitimate well or not. So we do get, unfortunately, investors that are investing in non-existent wells or non-existent companies that just want your money. And then you'll never see a return on your investment or any hope for any return because it's simply fraud. And there's not really any physical well that you're investing in at all. They're just taking your money and running, essentially. The too good to be true adage really applies with a lot of these investment schemes because, believe it or not, all of these with the internet, especially, all the ways to make money, the legitimate ways and illegitimate ways are out there in the public eye now. You can go and do a search engine search and find the good, the bad, and the ugly out there in terms of investment schemes and ways to make money or lose money. There are very few secrets out there to make millions of dollars with no risk. I mean, there's right now, as I'm talking to you, the savings account that is a safe investment sometimes gets less than 1% as an interest rate. So if somebody is telling you that you're going to make 20% overnight or you're going to double your money in 90 days without any risk, they're lying to you. There's either a lot of risk involved they're not disclosing to you, or it's a total scam because we know what a safe investment will make just by the indicator of what a savings account gets at your local bank. Anything beyond that includes some level of risk, whether they're telling you about it or not. I wanted to just wrap up with the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, gives the following red flags of investment fraud. Unlicensed investment professionals is the first red flag. Aggressive sellers who may provide exaggerated or false credentials is another red flag. As we mentioned, offers that sound too good to be true is a red flag. Risk-free investment opportunities. Again, everything usually carries some risk that's commensurate with the potential reward. I mean, that's how the market works. Promises of great wealth and guaranteed returns. That's something to be skeptical of. Pitches where they say everybody's buying it. If there's pressure to invest right now, if there's over-the-top sensational pitches that may have fake testimonials, unsolicited pitches seeking to obtain your personal information is another red flag. And finally, requests for investment payment by credit card, gift card, or wiring money abroad or to a personal account. Those are all red flags brought to you by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. And you can find that and more at their website. And also with our friends at the Ohio Department of Commerce, Division of Securities. They have their own tips and they can reiterate a lot of solid advice about what to go looking for when you're interested in an investment opportunity.
So let's suppose, Ryan, I come into an inheritance of $50,000 and I want to invest the majority of that. What do you recommend I do first?
Well, first things first, you don't want to go with the first player that comes to bat asking you to invest in them. You can use that as one alternative, but do your research. Check up with the Securities and Exchange Commission to see if folks that are interested in helping you invest or even licensed professionals, licensed brokerage professionals. You can find out if there's been any discipline sometimes with these investment professionals through the Securities and Exchange Commission. So really comparing different investment opportunities head to head, trying to figure out whether you think your money and whatever expenses are associated with an investment is worthy of your investment. So it's really a matter of doing some hard research and some good common sense, looking at red flags and figuring out whether someone is legitimate or whether they're a scam artist is really important. I mean, who would have thought, when Bernie Madoff was in the financial industry, who would have thought that person would be scheming lots of people out of lots and lots of money, because he was involved in the financial industry. So just because someone claims to be connected doesn't mean they're 100% legitimate. You want to really go to the Ohio Department of Commerce, Division of Securities, as well as the Securities and Exchange Commission to find out more information about whoever is trying to get you to invest. And they should be able to also help you with what to look out for when you're going in with that first time $50,000 seed money that you're talking about that you may have inherited or someone's willed to you. Use the advice through the Securities and Exchange Commission and through the Ohio Department of Commerce about how to choose a broker wisely and how to spot potential scams.
How can I get in touch with you, Ryan, for additional information?
Sure. The Ohio Attorney General's office, we have a toll-free number with our help center. It's 800-282-0515. That's 800-282-0515, or simply go to www.ohioprotects.org, and you can find out more information. You can report a scam. You can report a complaint that you may have about a business. You can get someone like me, an educator, out to your organization or group to speak on some of these matters like consumer scams, identity theft, cybersecurity, shopping smart. Those are free presentations that we give to communities all throughout the year. So if you want someone like me to come to your group and address these issues that we offer, like consumer scams, we can certainly do that in a group setting.
Hey, we're talking with Ryan Lippe. Ryan Lippe is a consumer educator with the State of Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost office. Ryan, thank you.
Well, thanks so much for doing this, and I appreciate your continued interest in our office and how we can protect Ohioans.